Hey guys, Zark here, and welcome back to another Conflict of Nations video. Today we got a pretty simple video for you kind of beginner players on Conflict of Nations today. We're going to be talking about insurgencies and kind of everything about insurgencies. Now, if you guys are pretty new into Conflict of Nations, you probably already have noticed, insurgents or insurgencies in your game. But if you don't know what they are, I'm going to kind of give a rundown real quick on what they are. There are these little cities right here that have, I think it's on mobile, they have red flags. Sometimes I feel like they have the red flag of this little thing right here. Oh yeah, you can actually see it here on PC. If I go here, you can see there's a red flag right there. Do they have it for here? Okay, there's no flag there. But yeah, you'll see them with the black or red flags here. And basically, this happens when anytime a city is attacked, either it being an AI city, a player-controlled city, and anytime it's attacked and a unit doesn't stay in there defending it and it dies, the insurgents, will kill that unit. And so what I always recommend, and this is pretty much the most important thing that you'll probably get from this video, is when you're attacking other people's cities and just really attacking any city in general, what you want to do is, this is actually a good example right of it right here. What you want to do is you want to leave your unit sitting in the middle of the center of that city. You just leave it there. You leave it there to defend. And the reason why you do that is because of this right here, the morale. If you tap on the city on mobile, you also see the morale number here. It's usually at the bottom on mobile. But the morale is very important because this morale number needs to get to 35% or higher until you could take that troop out. So if you just conquer a city, it'll automatically shoot to 25% morale. And so what you want to do is you want to leave the unit in the city. At least, one infantry unit is usually enough to defend against an insurgent. You want to leave that unit in there until it gets to 35% morale, so then you could move him out without the city, being recaptured by insurgents or anything. So that's basically the main thing about insurgencies and conflict of nations, that you always want to leave at least one kind of infantry unit just to defend the city when you take it over until it hits 35% morale. So you can see this city right here is at 37. So what I could do right here is I could just move this infantry battalion out. I'll just move him here for now. And actually, if you guys have seen my last video, the progress with this Battleground USA game is very nice. It's actually my first game on this new account here. I took a bit of a break from Conflict of Nations, but now I'm back at it. I'm enjoying it actually a really good amount here. And so this is my first game that I got, and I think it's always a Battleground USA game for your first game when you make a new account. So yeah, I'm basically taking over everyone here. I'm now, my last enemy, as you guys can see here, is North Carolina. They have like most of the east side of the United States, but besides that, this game is looking good. But yeah, insurgents. That's basically the main thing, is you got to wait for the 35% morale until to push your units out. Another thing that they could actually do here, I can actually show this example here, is you see insurgencies took over this city. And they can actually expand. It takes a while. It's kind of like it's kind of like the same thing when you go against a player controlled and maybe they go inactive, but the AI takes over their nation or whatever it is, and they start basically commanding their own nation as the AI does it, and that could happen with the same thing with insurgencies. So you see here. It looks like insurgencies, obviously they spawn in the city, and it looks like he already, one of the units here, and they can make multiple units, I'm pretty sure. It takes obviously very, very slow. It's not like they're going to be much of a threat as long as you control them, because I have seen insurgencies go pretty rampant if they do amount to getting a lot of territory. But basically one of those things that you stop them when they have only a few territory, and you don't have to worry about it really at all, because they're never really much of a threat here. But you see this insurgency right here, it spawned in the city, and then it moved up and it took this province to the north. And so there's probably insurgents there as well. So there's probably a unit in the city and one here, because they create multiple units from wherever they're spawning. So insurgencies can get out of hand, but most of the time they shouldn't be any problem. And so that's another tip right there with the insurgents. And overall, I'll just give some tips here if you're kind of just a new Conflict of Nations player, because that's what you probably are if you're watching this video, or if you're just watching the videos in general, which I appreciate you guys. But yeah, just kind of like your homeland city, building up your army bases, if you want to have certain, support troops, ground troops, any type of ground unit, you always need army bases if you want to have a strong ground unit. So for this game in particular, I'm running, tank destroyer, which I like to run a lot here. Mobile radar is always very good because the second upgrade you get is kind of where I stop because you just get a big radar boost. Motorized infantry is always something I usually go for. They're always very solid, and they get basically their own artillery once they're maxed out. And they also have a defensive buff when you're having them in cities, so they protect even better actually against insurgents, motorized infantry. I got mercenaries and stuff like that. Always put thing. I don't have anything in my cities that I spawn with. There might be some up here. Yeah, this is there's a province right here that produces supplies. So some provinces you might actually spawn in with, you'll have already that have that auto produce some, either supplies, components, and you always want to put a local industry, build that there so you can get more of that specific resource. So there's like another example up here. This produces components. So if I wanted to, I could construct a local industry, and that would probably be worth my while if I need that specific type of resource. Another thing I like doing is on this map in particular, especially Battleground USA, if you guys want to get a high KD, definitely run helicopters, unless you're like a Cuba or something. But helicopters are really good in this just because it's just so much land, it's not much sea, and especially if you're spawning as like Wyoming or like the east side of the US, helicopters can be huge. They just do basically the most damage against infantry and tanks and anything on the ground. Bombers are also nice too because they have more distance on them, but they could require a lot of materials. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, another thing I like to do is I like to have sometimes artillery units kind of scattered around all the ground I conquered. This one I have in a specific spot right here because it's protecting this province right here where I have a bunch of my helicopters landed, as well as I have, the airfield there, obviously, and a field hospital level 2 if my troops need healing, which they actually do. So they're just getting healed up in that city. Another thing is also very important that you guys should definitely use is military hospitals. They could be a little bit of investment, but they could completely heal your troops in a few days, and it's very, very good. So yeah, I kind of like to have artillery scattered around the map just in case I get invaded, and I could just shoot down probably a few units and get my KD up that way. Take out a few units if I ever need to. I could also send this, stack of 3 artillery to the front lines, maybe just as a kind of diversion and shoot down one of his cities and stuff like that. But it looks like I'm going to take this guy out. He was actually a part of my alliance, and he basically only had like corvettes and stuff like that, which I really don't have to worry about here because I don't have a navy myself. The only way he could enter is sending them basically across the United States and over here. But they can't do much because they don't have any coastal cities. So I basically only had like mechanized and National Guard. He did have a strike force. He had like a stack of 5 strike fighters. But I'm researching the mobile SAM turret, which we could look at right over here. So that should be no problem for me to deal with. I have one coming out, so a little bit more than halfway done. But I probably don't even have to worry about that because the stacks that I'm sending in right now have their own, whatchamacallit. Where can I see this? They have their own strengths. How can I see? Sorry guys, I mostly play on mobile here, so give me a moment to kind of see the stats. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so this unit by itself, without any kind of air units or air defense units, has 13.5 defense against helis and 10.8 against fixed fighter aircraft. So that's really, really good, especially for not having any type of anti-air units with it. So that unit is going up there. Obviously, another tip I will give you guys is that you never want more than 10 units in a stack because they just get less efficient. They just take more damage. They do less damage. So never do that. Always have at most in 10. And yeah, this is a pretty strong unit here. Infantry officers always very early to research. It's a great unit. It makes all your other infantry a lot stronger if you group it with them. And yeah, I think that's a pretty good rundown of, a lot of good tips and tricks for, your beginner guys on Conflict of Nations, as well as anyone who's kind of confused on the insurgencies and how they work. So hopefully I helped you guys learn about that stuff. And if you guys did, definitely like and subscribe for more Conflict of Nations content. And thank you guys for watching. And Zoc out.